Are you ready to make reviewing or practicing content go from this to this? Hello everyone, I'm Teacher Natalie, the Edtech Wizard. Welcome to my channel. Here on my channel you will find videos all about teaching online, using technology in your classes, and becoming the best online teacher you can be. If you would like help through the hiring process and beyond for VIP Kid or Outschool, just email me, use my referral code down below and email me, and I am happy to coach you through the process so you can successfully teach online as well. In today's video, I am going to talk about a virtual game called Kahoot. Kahoot is a great way to practice or review any content in your class for any type of class. It doesn't have to be just academics. It can be a cooking class, a sewing class, any content. You can use this game to create Kahoots to practice and review content with your students in a fun way that they enjoy doing. But before we jump into this video, please make sure to check out my free guides down below. I have a free guide for helping you come up with ideas for Outschool, as well as a free lesson plan template that includes a sample lesson plan, as well as ideas to get you started writing lessons for Outschool. The first thing we need to do to get ready to create our own Kahoots is to create a free account. Now, Kahoot is free, but there is also a paid version. But what we need to do today to practice and review content in our classes is create the free account. So I will see you inside of Kahoot. Once in the Kahoot site, this is what it looks like. Once you log in, if it asks you what version of Kahoot would you like to continue with, and it will list off 3 different versions, the basic version, which is free, and then 2 other paid ones. Go ahead and click that basic version. That is the one I'm using, and it will do what you need it to do for your classes. So here on the home tab for Kahoot, it's kind of like almost like a news feed for Kahoot. We want to use the Discover tab. Here on the Discover tab, we have a whole bunch of Kahoots. There's a library of Kahoots that you can search for and see if one already fits your need, and you can edit it. You can use it how it is, or you can edit it, and I will go over that in just a second. And the Kahoots tab. Now this is where all of your Kahoots will be found. Everyone you've changed, this is where you will be able to find it, as well as create your own Kahoot from scratch. Now I'm going to show you how to edit a Kahoot. The ones I have used, I have all found and just tweaked it to fit my class and my needs. And if you can't find one, then yes, go ahead and create a Kahoot with that button right there. Now everything I'm going to show you will work for editing a Kahoot as well as creating your own Kahoot. So I have searched for adding within 20. I was very specific with my topic and my question. I can also just search math and see what comes up, or search multiplication and see what comes up. But I was very specific in this search, and I was able to get a Kahoot. So once you click on it, you are able to see the whole Kahoot and all the questions. So here are all the questions. This is a 10-question long quiz, and here we have over here the gray, it tells you how long the questions are. So this question is going to stay on the screen for 20 seconds, and then it's going to time out, and if students didn't answer, they didn't answer. So here's the time and all the questions I see. Now from here, if this is what I want for my class to use, great. I can use this for my class and be done. I have a Kahoot. But I'm going to change it for my needs. It's a little long for my learners, and I'm going to tweak some questions so I can show you guys what that looks like. So I'm going to edit it. I can click play, or I'm going to click edit. I'm going to edit it. Now this will have to pop up, so you have to duplicate it. If you want to edit it, duplicate it. Now I am free to change it how I want. So here's the time limit. I like to increase the time to give everyone a chance to answer. So that is one thing I always do to my edits, is increase the time. And you're just going to go through and change that on all of them if that's what you're going to change. Now I have an image here, and all the images on my questions are the same, but maybe I want to change that. So I can come down here, there are a remove here or crop this picture, so I'm going to remove it. Now I have image library. This is the library of images on Kahoot. Now I can pick from these images, and if they work for you, they work. I like this one while I see it. You can also, let's remove it again, upload your own image. Image library, one thing I do want to show you, these free categories, these images are all free for you to use. If you search some images, if it has a crown, then that's one you have to have the pro access to get this image. But they do have a pretty good free library if you can find one what you need. You can also upload your own image. This is a image from your computer. So sites I like to find images from are Unsplash, Pixabay.com, as well as Canva. So I can use those sites and utilize those sites to find an image that I need if I can't find an image on the free version here. I can go there, find the image, download it, and then upload it to Kahoot. So that is a great way to find more images. And you can also insert a video here. So I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to pick a couple of questions, or I'm just going to do a couple of questions so you guys can see what this looks like. So here I am going to change this to match the picture. So change the equation 1 plus 1 equals. Now when you type in your question here, you also have some features here. I can bold it, italicize it, add this. I can add special characters to mine, so if I need a money sign or if I need the division sign, then I can find that here, as well as math equation. Then I can type in the whole math equation, and I don't have to search through those special characters. So you have several options for writing a question, or you can write a question, which I will show you. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I have 1 plus 1 and it equals 2. So I'm going to edit my answer 2. This is the correct one, so I need to make sure it is checked. That's the correct one. This one's not correct, so I'm going to uncheck it. So I can have multiple correct answers in my Kahoot. They can all be correct or just one of them. This one is, I'm just going to leave it how it is. This one I do want to change the question. I'm going to say, what color is green? And I'm going to remove this picture. So I'm just going to have a question. I'm not going to have a picture. because I can add a picture down here. So I'm going to add a picture from the image library. This is green. This is the right one. So let's add another picture. That one's not green. I'm going to add another one. That one's not green. Okay. What picture? There we go. I'll be a little more specific with my question. So what picture shows the color green? I can add pictures down here. Now we're going to tweak one more question because I can change the question here. It doesn't have to be multiple choice. And in order to do that, I'm going to add a new question, and then I can pick from a quiz or true or false. All of these ones you have to have pro access to. So I'm going to pick true or false. 8 plus 3 equals, 1 plus 4 equals, we're going to go true, false. 1 plus 4 equals 5. My answer is true, not false. I also have the option to choose from a question bank. And this question bank is fun because I can search for already made questions that I could use. So let's see what comes up for cooking. So here is my result of cooking, and I can see what questions are already out there for my topic that I can use for my quiz. So maybe I didn't find a Kahoot that I wanted, but I can still search question bank. So I'm going to add this one. Close. Now I have this picture, this question in my bank. So here I'm going to, over to the side, I'm going to delete some questions. So I deleted some questions because I just wanted a 5-question quiz. Now I can also change the point value to 0 points per question to 1,000 or 2,000. Now students get points based on the right answer and how fast they answer. That's how they get those points. So my Kahoot is done. So I'm going to click done. It is ready to go. So I'm going to test this Kahoot. Now you can see what you see as a teacher and what students see. So on the phone, this is what students see. On your screen in the purple, this is what you're going to see in Zoom. So this is very important when you are presenting this game in Zoom. Students can't see the same thing you're seeing. So when you are ready to play this game, you are going to share a link with your students in the chat box, and then they click the link on their computer and it pulls up on their screen what we see here with the Kahoot on the phone. This is what students will see. Whether they are on a phone or a computer, that is what they're going to see. Now, Kahoot is amazing, and there is a phone app. So students can use a second device if they are diehard Kahoot fans and they are able to have a second device here. They can use their phone with an app and just type in their code. If they don't have a phone, then they can do it on their computer, and this is what they see. Now here on your side, you need to click Classic, and there's some other options down here that you can play with. Now we're waiting for students to join, so they're going to with the link you shared with them in the chat box, and I'll show you how to get that link. Or they can go to the Kahoot app. If they have the app, they need to type in this code. And once they click that link, they are going to have to type in this code. So 16552274. So this is a code. Now here's going to type in a nickname. They can come up with a nickname. They can type in their own name. And then students will see when they're successfully in, and on your side you are going to see this whole, you're going to see everyone's name pop up. Once everyone is in, then you go ahead and click start. Now I am sharing my screen the whole time. And when I share my screen like this, in Zoom, students cannot see themselves or other students. So as of right now, if they are on a computer, they have their page popped up with 4 colors on it: the red, blue, yellow, green. That is what my students are seeing right now. I'm sharing my screen, but students have to be on their tab to click on the right answer. So you are going to have to help your students either split screen if they're on the computer, so they can see Zoom and the screen you're sharing, and as well as click the answers. You will have to either walk your students through that. If they are young, older students will probably know how to be able to go back and forth between 2 tabs. So here's my question: 1 plus 1. And I always read the questions out loud for this reason. Students might not be able to see it unless you help them, guide them how to use 2 tabs at one time, how to go between Zoom and the answers. So now they just click an answer. Students will click an answer, on their side. They're going to click the red one. And everyone can see this. I can see the check mark. That tells me 1 is the correct answer and how many students answered 1. So I have 1 student who correctly answered. I'm going to click next, and it will show up with everyone's name and how many points they have. So it will put them in order. The top player who answered the quickest, fastest will be on top. And they're going to click an answer. You click next. It can show you how many people answered it, and on their side it will tell them if they are wrong. And click next. So here are what pictures look like. If you put pictures in your answers, students can only still see the color that they need to click. And our last question, true, click blue on their side, click next. And then it will pop up a little podium of who did the best, first, second, and third. That all their names will pop up here. This is what Kahoot looks like when you play with your student. I'm going to click done here. Now I have a class and I am ready to play my question. So I'm going to click play next to my Kahoot, and I found it in the Kahoot tab, and I'm going to click play. Here, now you're going to click teach, and it pops up with this same menu that I just did when I tested it, and again click classic. So students have to go to this site to access Kahoot, and I will put it in the chat box, or I'll go find it. I will type it in on my own web browser, because if I just copy and paste this, the Kahoot.it, if I copy and paste this, it will not be a link in the chat box. So what I will do is I will just open up a new tab, go to Kahoot.it, and then grab it from there, and students will then have a link to it. If you want to create your own Kahoot from a blank page, you are going to click create, and now you have all of the same features that I have that we just used to edit it. The last thing I want to show you is how to grab a link for students to play by themselves. So this is great for a flex class. You can assign it to your students in a flex class and they can still play a Kahoot. They will not be playing with each other. but they can still have this fun experience of a Kahoot. So what you're going to do is click the Assign button. Now you can pick a date of when it is live. So if I pick Friday, January 8th, students can play it from now up until January 8th. And you can pick up between a month. You can make it live for a month. So you can create it. Now you will get a link here, and this is what you're going to copy and paste in an Outschool message to your class, this link. And then students click the link and access it. Now the different thing about doing it this way is students on their device, they can see the question and answer on their device at the same time. So they can play by themselves. I'm not the one who needs to click through all the slides. When I share this with my classroom post, I do like to share it both ways. I give them the link as well as directions, or you can go to or use the app and type in this code. That way they can play either way. So this option's fun for flex classes, but remember they are not going to be competing with other students. It will be just themselves. Here are a couple of ways I use Kahoot in my own classroom. So if I have a larger group of students, like 5 or 6 students, I just give them a code and let them play together. If I have a smaller group of students, like 2 or 3 students, then I jump in on my own phone and play, and then I make it a game, try to beat me. So that way students are trying to race and beat me, which is fun. I use Kahoot at the end of a lesson to review what we just taught and to practice. And I've used this at the end of one-time classes as well as in multi-day classes. And like I said earlier, it is fun to put this link into a flex class so they can still have that fun review of your material. Another thing you can try with your students that's fun, that works well with a multi-day class or a flex class, is after a couple of weeks or week of learning the material, have students submit questions to you for Kahoot. So you can do this by a Google form. Create a Google form with that students can type in their question with possible answers, and then they submit that to you. And then from that information, you create the Kahoot that then you can play with your students. So that makes it for a fun, different twist on still reviewing the concepts and making a student-led game. And they took a part into creating those questions. So it's always fun for them to see their questions pop up and to see what other students' questions are. Now, pros and cons of Kahoot. So pros. Kahoot is fast. It's fast to create a Kahoot either from scratch, or you can search from a bank of Kahoots already made for you. So it's a little prep time for you. Most students are familiar with Kahoot. If you say we're going to play Kahoot, you will probably get some cheers from a student. They're familiar with it. So you probably won't have to spend as much time explaining how to play a Kahoot. There is an app for Kahoot. So teachers, you can use the app to create Kahoots, and as well as students can use the app to participate in a Kahoot from on a phone or an iPad or tablet. Cons. There is a time factor to playing Kahoot. Students are answering questions at the same time. So everyone's going to be on that first question. Everyone's going to move on to the second question. So at the end of the Kahoot, everyone's going to be finished at the same time. Cons. There is a time factor to Kahoot. Some students like it, some students do not like that time factor. So pay attention to your students and how they're doing, and offer help to the ones that are just shutting down or not answering during the Kahoot. Some I have my own student do this. She was participating really well during class, and she was answering questions well, but as soon as we got to the Kahoot where it was timed, she just froze and was having a hard time because it was timed. So even though she could do it, that time factor just did not work well for her. So keep that in mind. Some students really like to race against the clock and each other and are competitive. Other students don't like that time factor. So just be aware of your students so you can offer help to those students. One other thing is the score for students. Time, how fast you answer a question, does play a role in how many points you get. So if all those students who are answering correctly and answering faster, they're going to always be on top, versus the students who are going to take their time, who get it right, but they just don't have that time there, they might not make it to the top. So some students can feel defeated to feel always on the bottom. They can't make it even past the student. So just play around with it, and if that seems to be an issue, then you can take those points away when you create your Kahoot. The last thing I think is that students, once they're on their device or using it on the computer, they cannot see the questions. It does take a little time for students to see the questions and the answers, or you're reading the questions out loud always, and then they just have to remember the question and remember the answers, which is really hard. So before you start, make sure students can see your screen, the Zoom screen, as well as the screen they need to answer on. Make sure they can see both if they're using one device. Kahoot is so fun, and the majority of my students absolutely love playing Kahoot. So use this in your class. Leave a comment below and let me know if you've used this in any of your Outschool classes. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video, which is coming out. It's another virtual game, similar but different than Kahoot, that my students also love to play. So I will see you next week. Remember, you got this.